From Microbe TV, this is Q&A with A&V. I'm Vincent Racaniello, and joining me tonight from Chevy Chase, Maryland, Amy Rosenfeld. Hello, Amy.
Hello, Vincent. How are you today?
I am well, and this is your second live stream from Maryland.
Yeah.
How was your first week in Maryland?
I hate the GPS lady.
You drive around with the GPS lady, but eventually you'll know where everything is so you can turn them off, right?
Well, I know my way fully to the Home Depot, to Bed Bath & Beyond, the Container Store, the Trader
Excellent.
Joe's, Saks, Tiffany's,
Excellent.
and
Tiffany's is important, right?
no, Saks is important. Tiffany's is an accessory.
So for those of you who may want to complain about Amy's setup, this weekend I'll be in Washington for ASM, and I'm going to pop by her place and fix up her internet setup, okay? So next week it'll be all good. Right, Amy?
Sure.
And we have some moderators tonight I want to thank before we get started. We have Les here tonight. Tom briefly made an appearance, but he has grandchild things to take care of. I saw Frank down here. Where is Frank? Frank P. Hello, Frank. Frank and Les. Wait, I don't see anyone else. Tom is here.
No, there's Vanity Nutrition.
Here's Vanity. There you go. Thank you, Vanity.
We just don't know where Steph is.
And we don't have Steph. And Amy, you have another Amy here. It says you look so much more relaxed, Amy.
Yeah, it's good.
So the reason Amy is relaxed is she has a job. She has her own lab, and she can do her own thing. She can hire people to work with her. And so that's the goal. That was the whole goal of all these years of training. So naturally, plus she has her own digs in Chevy Chase, Maryland.
I do. I have fancy pants digs because I got my own pool on the rooftop, and they have a workout room on the rooftop and everything. Yeah.
Excellent. Great.
And I got my own balcony, although you can't put a barbecue or anything on it. So I don't know what to do with it. It's like too much suburbia for this city girl right now. An overload.
I wanted to...
And what do you mean all this training? I finished training moons ago.
All right. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
Before we start with our questions, I wanted to cover something that you mentioned 2 live streams ago. So you said, Dr. Fauci said early on in the pandemic it was a China problem. And Danielle, who is a listener, she might be here tonight, wrote in, while Amy was mostly correct in terms of what Fauci was saying, it was a bit more nuanced. He was not discounting the risk, but saying it was a big problem there. So I found an interview in Journal of the American Medical Association from February 2020. This January 21st, the first COVID case in the U.S. Was confirmed, and Fauci appeared on the conservative Newsmax TV, and the host said, "We don't have to worry about this, right?" And Fauci said, "Obviously, you need to take it seriously, but this is not a major threat to the people of the U.S., and this is not something that the citizens of the U.S. right now should be worried about. However," he said, "it's an evolving situation. Every day we have to look at it carefully." So he did say initially it wasn't an issue, but he said we have to look at it carefully, okay?
No, he initially said it was a China problem, and then he waited a month, and then he was interviewed where he said we need to look at it carefully and monitor.
No, this was this interview after the first case. All right, well, can you find the article where he said it's a China problem? Because I couldn't find it, all right?
It's not an article. It was done in an interview when he was standing next to Trump with Deborah Box. Anyway. Just acknowledge the fact that he thought he negated, he brushed it aside initially, which is what a lot of people did. They had no idea. That's why Ian is in trouble, is because people want to scream that Ian didn't sound the alarm when he had some knowledge. And he gets these phone calls all the time. Oh, there's this outbreak, there's that outbreak. And he doesn't know which outbreak is going to become a pandemic and which outbreak is going to burn itself out. So he's always cautious about whether or not he should sound the alarm.
Okay. Anyway, at this interview, which I found, he did say it's not a problem right now. And parenthetically, on May 3rd, Fauci criticized China's zero COVID policy. He said the lockdowns are unlikely to be successful in the long term because the government isn't using the time to boost vaccination rates. The shots it is delivering are less effective. He said this on a German talk show. And why do I bring this up? Because we have been asked what we think of the China lockdown, and we have told you we don't think much of them. And I just want you to know that we're in good company.
Well, I wouldn't use him necessarily as a gauge.
Hey,
There's a lot of issues,
I would.
and I'm not
It's
sure
fine.
how he knows exactly whether what vaccines China has and is using, and can say that they're not as good. Does he have any data
Only
to have
what's been
made those
published, I
statements?
guess. Just what's been published.
Well, that's not sufficient because that's not fully phase threes and stuff. So that's not really sufficient.
All right, Philip said, how about that Novavax?
Got approved yesterday.
It's good. So that's good. A bit late, but hopefully some more people will take it up, right?
Sure.
So Elizabeth said she added mushrooms to her pizza at lunch. Does that count as gain of fungus? Yeah. Congress is going to shut down your kitchen. Yep.
I like mushrooms.
Did you see the paper on therapeutic interfering particles by Lior Weinberger? Did you see this, Amy?
I think it was back to back with Raoul's paper.
Yeah, I have it here. I can show
DI
you.
paper about
Screen
DI
share.
particles.
Here it is.
Yeah, that was back to back with Raoul's paper.
So what are your thoughts
DI
on this,
particles.
Amy?
It's all about interferon.
They induce interference. They also do some interference with viral reproduction, right? I'm not getting a good thing there.
No, I don't think so.
They're not like DI particles. They just induce interferon.
They are. They're DI particles that induce interferon.
That's their only mechanism of action, inducing interferon.
Yeah, basically.
And how are they delivered? In lipid nanoparticles, right?
Yeah.
And do they not interfere at all in a
I
competitive
don't
way?
believe so. DI particles don't interfere. I mean,
That's why they're called defective interfering particles, right?
Because they stimulate interferon, which interferes with virus production, but they don't actually like compete with, prevent virus, other mechanisms.
Here, let me show you in the paper what they say. The wrong thing. Let me find the screen share. See what it says here. Since DIPs, defective interfering particles, lack self-replication but conditionally replicate with their cognate virus, they have the potential to act as molecular parasites by competitive inhibition, where cis elements steal trans elements like replication.
They have the potential. It doesn't say that they do, and it doesn't seem. I don't believe that Raoul's paper says that they do.
Anyway, what do you think of this approach, Amy? Is this a useful therapeutic?
I see no difference between the induction of interferon using DI versus the induction of interferon using OPV. And actually, Vanuzzi Marco, who just left the Pasteur for Singapore, he has a whole company using DIs to prevent flea infection. We sent it to Chumakov months ago. Oh, look, Jen's here, too.
So you don't think this is going to be a new class of antivirals, huh?
Well, Marco thinks it is. He made a whole company.
Okay.
But good luck to you.
Anyway, in response to Lynad, we'll see. We'll see how far they get. It's an interesting concept. It's been around for many years. People have been studying DI particles for ages.
It's David.
David Baltimore. That's right. Okay, what's up, folks? The usual suspects here tonight. Rob, Dr. Fungus, thank you very much for your contribution to the incubator. Put aside your fungicide and love the hyphae for life. That's great. I really like that. Okay. Oh, by the way, folks, today I did a Reddit AMA. And here's Billy Bob. Yeah, I just missed Vincent on Reddit. There weren't many people there. I had very few questions. In fact, while I was waiting for questions to come up, I was editing the latest TWIV and got it done. So interesting lack of activity or interest. I mean, there were 20, 30 people there asking questions, but a very different situation from just a few months ago. So that's fine. That's what people want, right?
Well, I mean, the pandemic is kind of over, right? We've decided that the pandemic is over for us.
For the U.S.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Have you done any TWIVs on vaccinia or other oncolytic cancer-killing viruses being used to treat cancer? Yes, we have. In fact, I think we had one.
On measles.
Now, we certainly had one on measles, which is being used for oncolytic
Well,
therapy.
you had
But
the guy who did it, and then you had the cool paper that you didn't understand that I picked until the very end.
yeah, that's right. I got it. Yeah, and we also had the CEO of Reolysine, the company that makes Reolysine. I forgot the name of it. And we also had Grant McFadden on, which why is there an echo?
It's the air conditioning going on and off.
No, it's me. It's not the air conditioning.
Uh,
Um, we had the guy who, Grant McFadden, who's using vaccinia. So, yes, there are several TWIVs. I would just search for oncolytic viruses. Don't worry, be happy, and you will find them. Okay, is there any evidence that secretory IgA of the immunized inhibits PFU formation by respiratory viruses? I think there have been a few studies, now correct me if I'm wrong, Amy, that where they have done some nasal wash and looked at IgA for
one,
neutralization. One study.
one.
So
Think Theodore.
IgA in theory can neutralize infectivity, right?
Yeah, think Theodora did it.
Yeah. I mean, for other viruses, there's more work done, but that's just the one I recall for SARS-CoV-2. But
Yeah,
Amy, now clarify this for us, Amy. You said there's no IgG in the nose, basically.
right, right.
It's just IgA.
Hmm.
What about in the nasopharynx?
No, it's only in the lower tract. That's part of the upper tract.
Okay, so the whole upper tract is protected by IgA
Or IgM. I mean, I don't know where IgM
and
is.
interferon, right?
Hmm.
Okay. A preprint from USC suggested using a criteria in distinguishing hospital admission from or with COVID as those who need oxygen or not. I think it's a
I
good
don't know. You
idea.
have to ask Daniel.
All right. Well, we can ask Daniel. However, using hospital admission as a metric of COVID severity is not useful, I think, especially because some people go for COVID and some people go with it. And I think if you need oxygen or go into the ICU, that would be a good metric, right? Because that's severe COVID. But I will ask Daniel what he thinks about that. But he agrees that the hospitalization metric, which the CDC is using to justify a fifth dose of vaccine, they're saying, well, hospitalizations are increasing in over 65. And I'm sorry, I don't think that's a good metric. And many scientists do not think it's a good metric, not just me. What do you mean to know if you have it or not? Well, you do PCR,
You do a TAC man.
which is a form of amplification, right?
Yeah, it's a PCR.
So
I
some people,
assume that they want to know if they have the SNP that makes them HIV resistant,
yeah.
right?
So it says delta 32 is a deletion in the
You do a
CCR5
TAC
gene.
man.
Yeah, you could do a attack man. I don't know who would do it for you though. That's the problem. It's not a clinically available test, right, Amy?
I don't know. I don't work on HIV. I don't know that much about what the reagents are for looking at whether or not you're going to like predict about your course of infection or disease. I don't know.
New Moderna Omicron mRNA vaccine. Any thoughts?
They say it's better.
What,
Paper's not out yet.
what is it better in what way?
Say it's better protection.
Against the current circulating Omicron variants?
Yeah. But the paper's not out yet. It's just a press release, or actually, I read it in the journal this morning.
Of course, it could be better against blocking infection, but what about disease? That's the key. Is it going to be any better, or is it going to be the same? I'll ask Paul Offit. Paul Offit's going to come back to TWIV in a couple of weeks, and we can talk to him about it. Is that a good strategy, Amy?
Sure, but I don't think it blocks infection, to be honest.
Well, what are they measuring?
I can tell you in a minute.
I mean, if they're doing a phase 2, I doubt they're doing a phase 2. They're doing a phase 1. They're getting serum from these people, and they say, it neutralizes Omicron better than serum from people with the other vaccines. Yeah, sure. But what about disease?
Yeah, that's what they said, is researchers found that the levels of neutralizing antibodies against Omicron among people that got the modified shot were 1.7 times higher than people who received the booster shot of the original vaccine. Yeah. The data is clear that I think the data clearly shows that this is a superior booster. Moderna President Stephen Hodge said in an interview.
This is just baloney. I'm sorry. It doesn't show it's a superior booster. I'm sorry. In 4 to 6 months, those antibodies are going to contract, and you're going to be at the same place you were before. This is just unacceptable warping of science. I'm tired of it, Amy. Good night.
Okay. Bye.
So, folks, what we're
I have
saying,
stuff to do. I mean,
what's that?
I have stuff to do. So if we're done, we're done.
No, I'm just joking, because it's very frustrating that the president of this bloody company doesn't get that just neutralization is not the whole story. Because
I work on a disease, Vincent, that people are talking about using mathematical modeling to determine whether or not you have antigenic drift, or whether or not you have one serotype and antibodies, blah, blah, blah. So you think I'm not concerned about what some schmagegi CAO says, who probably doesn't have a PhD? Really? You really think I'm more concerned about him than I am about the crap that goes on at Europic for EV68?
Okay, I get your point, but I don't have a research program to be concerned with like you do. And so I'm worried about this stuff. And I'm not, these data do not mean it's a better vaccine than the previous one. I'm sorry, president or whatever of Moderna.
Well, I mean, as far as he's concerned, it does, because all we care about is neutralizing antibody titers. It doesn't matter that we don't know anything about what that means, but why focus on the details?
Sorry, moron. I'm sorry to say it, but moron. Did you get your Boostrix?
I don't know what a Boostrix is.
I thought it was Shingrix. Why are you calling it Boostrix? Let's look for Shingrix. Boostrix. I've always called it Shingrix. Oh, it's a product booster immunization against tetanus, diphtheria, and pertussis. No. I didn't get Boostrix. I got, no, I didn't. I did get at 65 something else, though. What was it? So diphtheria, tetanus, and DTP. I got DTP at 65 for sure.
That's the same thing as what you just said.
Yeah, I did. So I have a very good primary care physician who, he sits down at his computer. He looks up my records. He says, "Oh, Vincent, you're due for DTP. Did you get your flu shot this year? Did you get a COVID booster? Did you get yellow fever vaccine?" No, I'm not going anywhere where I need a yellow fever vaccine. He's very good, so I'm up to date, for sure. And I went to give blood. Look at this, folks. Look, I went to give blood. Look what they did to my arm. Bloody hell, venipuncturists, phlebotomists, right?
Yeah, she hit the back of the vein.
Hey, look at that. And this was when did I go? Friday?
Yes.
Hey, I mean, Unacceptable. I'm sorry. All right, here's a tough question. This is an Amy question. I'm going to give this to Amy. Which usually causes more serious illness, bacterial or viral infection? So usually is the problem here, right? You can't really do a usually because
You can't do a more serious because you can't quantitate pathogenesis between or virulence between different organisms or viruses.
yeah.
So there's no answer to that question.
Yeah, you can't. In my virology course, I teach you cannot compare virulence among different viruses and among similar viruses. So, for example, if you wanted to compare poliovirus 1 and 2, you could do that. You'd have to use the same animals, the same dose, same conditions. Everything has to be the same. So this should tell you that when you try and compare SARS-CoV-2 variant virulence, it's impossible because you don't have anything the same. You can't compare people in Ontario with people in South Africa. So it's a joke to try and do that. Anyway, so we can't do this 2, 4, 10. Other people may answer your question, but we are not going to. Is 10-day Paxlovid being considered to reduce long COVID? There are some people are thinking of trials. Yes, I'm not sure if they've started. Daniel talked about this a couple of weeks ago. He said, if they don't do it, we're going to do it at his institution because that's an easy trial to do to see if it reduces long COVID. When would you give this, Amy? After when you have symptoms of long COVID or what?
No, symptoms of long COVID are like months later. I don't know. I don't know what it's supposed to do because it targets the viral protease. So if you give it after you have symptoms of long COVID, there's no virus there. So I don't know what you're going to do with it.
Well, the idea is, as you know, there might be some residual virus, right? And so maybe that's causing the problem, so you get rid of it with the antiviral. But I'm not convinced that that's the case.
I'm not convinced that that's a good philosophy.
No.
Because residual virus usually means that the virus is hiding. So what makes you think that this antiviral is going to find it?
Yeah, exactly right. So I think they're going to do it, but I don't think it's going to show anything.
If you have extra money, go ahead.
Maeve is very happy you're still here with us on Wednesdays. Okay, Amy?
It's good. I like the doggies.
That's cute. How important is zinc for the immune system, Amy?
In terms of what?
Does it help make a better immune response?
Not that I'm aware of.
You know, you can buy you can buy tons of zinc. So here's a paper from 2008 in Molecular Medicine, Zinc in Human Health, Effect of Zinc on Immune Cells. And so they added zinc to a T helper cell line and showed decrease in the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines. So
I'm not really that interested in T helper cell lines.
And I think that this is not a useful experiment, and I don't think anything useful has been done in people to address that. Will my smallpox vaccine, gotten decades and decades ago, protect me from getting a serious case of monkeypox?
Yes.
Yeah, I think, though, it's not going to go forever. So I got mine when did I get mine? In the 60s. So that would make it...
When you went to Italy for the first time.
Well, we were getting routine smallpox anyway. But yeah, maybe it was...
But you had to get a vaccine to show that in order to get on the plane to Italy, you had to get vaccinated.
So that would be in the 1960s. So that would make it over 60 years. I don't think it lasts that long. From what I'm seeing is they're speculating 40 to 50 years, which is a pretty good run, but longer than that is tough. Is it safe to get Tdap 1 month after having COVID?
Talk to Daniel. I'm sure he has an opinion.
You know, he always talks about getting a COVID vaccine. How long after you get COVID? I think he says 90 days, no?
Yes,
So you might do the same with that.
I would assume so.
Why is the U.S. low for tuberculosis cases compared with some other countries? I don't know. It's a good question. I'm going to have a tuberculosis person on TWIM this weekend. I will ask her, why do we have so few? But I think it's a matter of overall good health care, less crowded conditions, better medicine in than many places. What do you think, Amy? Are those reasonable explanations?
Yeah, I mean, she's the expert. I would ask her.
Vincent, congrats on your award. And Amy, congrats on your new job. All good news. Very good. Thank you, Pamela. And we have your books. Pamela, I'm getting some poems in. You know, we're doing a poetry contest to give away your books. If some of you, in case some of you know, Pamela is the author of a number of books, children's books, and we are giving them away on TWIV in a poetry contest. And we're collecting them and we're going to read them in an upcoming episode. Very cool. Has Amy started her new gig?
June 21st, first day in the lab, or first day at the FDA.
And you're going to have a new email and everything, a new office, right? It's very exciting, Dr.
I
Rosenfeld.
didn't have an office before, so yes, I get to have a new office because I had zero office.
You used mine for a long time, and that was pretty good, right?
Yeah, but it was yours.
And
Had
now
your stuff in it.
you're going to have a physically separate office from the lab, right?
Yeah, it's on the other side of the corridor.
Oh, and here's the exciting thing. You're going to be able to put together your women scientist Lego now.
Yeah, I'm going to put together my women scientist Lego. I'm going to unpack Jen's painting of EVD 68 because it's nicely bubble wrapped and packed in, I don't know where it is exactly, but we'll find it because it's in a box labeled Jen 68. So we can find it.
So many years ago, I bought Amy a Lego of women scientists, right? And she was going to put it together. And I said, no, you have to wait till you get a job. And boy, it sat on her shelf for many years. And now it's still there. Did you take it with you?
Oh, it's in my apartment. You want to see it?
Oh, no. Yeah, why don't you get it? I would show people for sure. Is it hard to get or is it packed?
No, I know where it is. Hold on.
Yeah, sure. I will chat in the meantime. And so now she can put it together. And so presumably she will do that in her office. And, it's got a lady scientist with a flask and other. Yeah, that's it. Cool. What is it called?
It's called Lego.
Yeah, I know it's a Lego, but what's the name of the set?
Research Institute.
It's all women, right?
Yeah.
Hold it
3
up, please.
Women. Got Tyrannosaurus, and then it's got a chemist, and then an astronomer.
And it's got a little lab bench.
Yeah, with the chemist. She's
Very
brewing
cool.
something. She's distilling some stuff.
Good.
Yeah.
That would be exciting to put that together.
Yeah, I'm going to put it together when I get there, but I'm not there yet. On Wednesday, I go. Tuesday, just orientation online. Wednesday, you go. You pick up the badge, and then you go.
Which Wednesday? Next Wednesday?
No, 2 weeks from today.
Oh, and then you go in your office, right?
Yeah, I have to find it first. Yeah,
Sure, you'll find it.
I know, but I'm getting lost all the time. The lady keeps yelling at me, recalculating.
Could you move to your left about 4 inches, please? Thank you. Okay, Doug wants to know, has there been any good evidence one way or the other about the utility of non-neutralizing antibodies to SARS-CoV-2?
No.
So the non-neuts have been shown for other viruses. Myaro.
And Simbus.
So nobody has looked at non-neuts for SARS-CoV-2?
No.
With some FC assay or something like that, no?
No,
okay.
Not really.
So the idea is that we think they might be important based on observations with another virus, right?
Yeah, and obviously they have to be somewhat important because the vaccine and the fucosylation of the FC portion corresponds to severe disease, right? We did that paper, or you did that paper about that, remember?
Yeah, sure do.
So it suggests that there's something there. I don't know what it is, but it's be interesting to investigate.
Okay, Frank, our mod, one of our mods, says an article today posted by Yahoo stated the problem with COVID in North Korea is because the wind is blowing COVID from China to North Korea. No, no, no. Right, Mamie? It doesn't happen, does it? Not with SARS-CoV-2.
Oh yeah, we just blow. That's how it got here, didn't you know? It wasn't
Over
by a
the
person. It just
Pacific.
blew over because the wind patterns.
Now, I must say, Frank, there is a picornavirus, foot and mouth disease virus, which can blow over the English Channel. So isolates have been known to blow from France to England because that is a very stable virus. But SARS-CoV-2 is not. So it's not completely unheard of as far as viruses go, but not for this one. This wouldn't last very long in the wind, I'm afraid. Is the bivalent Moderna vaccine that was in the press release today the same vaccine that you and Dr. Griffin have talked about on Twiv? I believe so, yeah. Dr. Griffin has talked about it, yeah. That's it. So we'll see what the data say. But as Amy has already said, it's all about neutralization. Please click like. I didn't click. Les's message is like 10 down from where I clicked, and it just showed up. It's weird. Maeve says, not a COVID question, but have either of you studied viral meningitis? Kicked my butt when I was 17, and I take viruses very seriously now. I have not studied. Have you, Amy?
It can be caused by an entero. So
Yeah.
in some respects, we do, because it can be caused by Coxsackies or
Yes.
echoes. So, and I study both. So, but I don't know if that's what she had. I mean, there are many viruses that cause meningitis or associate with the development of meningitis. So I don't know.
Is there any point in testing IgG on blood work? No. I mean, IgG to SARS-CoV-2? No. There's no point. You learn nothing because we don't know what the numbers mean. Would you agree with
If
that?
you just did plus or minus, it could be fine.
If you did IgG to N protein, you want to know if you've been infected, that would be fine. Right.
Well, even if you did IgG to spike and you said yes or no, that would tell you if you mounted an immune response to the vaccine, right? The actual numbers are meaningless, but if you just do plus or minus, yes or no, one or two, yeah,
Okay.
fine.
How do you like your new apartment?
It's okay. It's good.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Is it better than your New York apartment?
Yeah, in some respects, it's got central air and it's got a rooftop pool and it's bigger, but it has less storage space and stuff. So, it takes some time to get used to. It'll be fine.
You
I'll
have
be
an
excited.
exercise club too on the roof, right?
I do.
You have a car underneath. You have a parking garage underneath, right?
I do, which houses the vehicle that I didn't have to have in New York. See, right there, detriment. Has to have an underground parking garage to house the
Amy,
vehicle.
Move to DC and you won't need a car.
Of course I'll need a car. How do you think I'm going to get to work? I'm going to fly?
You can't take the T to work, the transit metro?
No,
No.
that's the whole point.
Boy, what were they thinking?
So the thing is that there's two problems. So one is that the FDA is built too far away from the Silver Springs metro stop. It's like a 50 to an hour minute to an hour walk. So that's not good. The other problem is the way that the red line is. It's a U, and there's nothing that goes across the top of the U. So you have to go all the way down and around, and that takes like another hour. So that's too long. I'm not spending 4 hours transmitting myself to to the FDA. It's a waste of time. So you have to take vehicle, 20 minutes.
Sorry, I'm very sorry. But on the other hand, it's a great job for you.
It's a great job. I'm thrilled with the job. I like the people. They're really smart. They're all very nice and helpful. It's going to be fabulous. They're all interesting, and it's going to be an intellectual pleasure.
Yeah.
But vehicle, not so excited about. Plus, the lady on the GPS, she just recalculating.
You
She's
could
very
change the
aggressive.
voice. Change the voice to a guy.
Doesn't matter. It's very aggressive. I can't stand it.
Peter said, I didn't know there was an AMA. Reddit. Perhaps more advertising. Well, in the past, I haven't had to advertise. I just showed up and there were billions of people. Obviously, now there's less interest. If I did it regularly, that would be fine. But I haven't been, right, because it takes a chunk of time on Wednesdays. But I don't think going forward I'm going to do it regularly because we do this. And this is actually easier. It's easier to talk than to type things, to type answers into that. Thank you, Morris, for your contribution to the incubator. Now I am spending most of my days at the incubator. Well, yesterday I went to Columbia. I had to change the liquid nitrogen tank for Amy. And I'm going to do this until she gets her samples out, which is in a couple of weeks maybe.
Yes, we're going to work on it. I don't know if we can take all of them at one time, but we're going to work on it.
And tomorrow I'm going to change it again, right?
Yes, because the tank was low.
And I'm meeting Garrett. That Garrett who was on this stream last week is going to come and pick up his textbook because he gave a donation to the to Microbe TV. And
you're having furniture delivered.
Yeah, some more furniture being delivered. I don't know what it is, but hopefully it's more than a little table.
Hopefully it's chairs.
Chairs and a lamp, and that'll do it, right?
Yeah, I can't wait to see. You're going to have to send a picture.
Hi, Amy. I tried your bagel recipe, and I got some lovely chewy bagel, both with yeast and sourdough. You said use baking soda, but I thought that might be bitter, so I used CaO. What's CaO? Calcium
oxide? I've never used CaO. I've always used NaOH to make it in order to boil the bagels in a basic solution. Yeah, it's good. Bagels are yummy.
Environmental has a show on his or her channel at 9 on the UN Sustainability and Development Goals, but I just want to tell you I love you guys. Thank you, Environmental. We love you too.
That's lovely.
And Animal Party says, I don't have IgG to measles. Had to get titers for my new job.
Yeah, she just got a new job. She's like going to go to school and become a nurse and everything. And she is just like me. I don't have IgG to measles either. See?
Okay.
This is why Jen and I are Jen and I.
Okay, let's see this one here. I'm a little suspicious of. I have to check to see if it's been removed. It's very hard to do that. Hold on, folks. Just pause a moment while I go back in time here. Morris Brunn. I just did Morris. No, that was that was Morris. So this should be following it. All right, I don't see it here. Thank you, K. Sarah, for your contribution. Really appreciate it. Took me forever to get back on Reddit. I got in at the very end. Gwen, okay, thank you. It was very quiet. It was fine. There were good questions. It's just was noticeably less than before, whereas this live stream is still going strong. But I take Reddit as a harbinger of what may happen here. New coronavirus discovered by Zoonosis Science Center at Uppsala University in Sweden in red-backed voles. That's right. That is this...
Gizmo?
Grimzo.
Oh, Grimzo?
Amy, are you hearing through your earbuds?
Yeah.
Because I'm hearing an echo. I don't know why. And I don't... this is, if you look, you're going to find new viruses. So I don't think this is any worry at all. All right, Kathy has a question about severe COVID and type 1 interferon autoantibodies that we discussed on TWIV 902. If one has positive ANA and some autoantibodies, how do you know if they're type 1? You'd have to check them to see if they're against interferon type 1. You could do that. You could have it done by an ELISA. Are you hearing through the earbuds, Amy?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. So
We just checked. See?
What?
Hello.
Hi.
See, I just checked.
You'd have to have them checked, Kathy, by a clinical laboratory, but I'm not sure that's a research test at this point. So I'm not sure you could get it done just anywhere. Oh, so Spamlet got cut off. Used calcium hydroxide in bagel water. You mentioned sodium hydroxide. What does it do? Does it matter what alkali is used?
No, it doesn't matter what alkali is used.
What does it do?
It's an alkylating agent. Makes it basic so that you get the crust.
Is there any data on the frequency of long COVID in initial infections versus subsequent? I'm not aware of such data. The data are very tough. Good data are tough to come by. The data we talked about in the last TWIV are all in Veterans Administration, VA hospital patients who are veterans of a certain age, and so not representative of the entire population. So I'm not aware of any of this. Would you expect the frequency to be reduced? Yes. Vaccination certainly reduces the frequency. So I would expect infection would as well, infection-induced immunity as well. Would you, Amy?
Yeah, I don't see why it's not.
Thank you, Lynn, for your contribution. Till now, the virus finally got me. Oh, after avoiding COVID till now, got fully vaxxed, fully recovered, vaccines win again. Thanks again for keeping us informed and successfully fighting the worry porn. Thank you for your contribution, and we're glad that we're helpful. And here is our two PharmDs from San Francisco.
Yeah,
good
that's
to see
great.
You. Thank you for your contribution. The two PharmDs came to our incubator opening a few weeks ago. It was great to see you. Seeing a wide diversity of illnesses.
Meeting them.
Seeing a wide diversity of illnesses in ambulatory patients. I guess it's a coronavirus acting just like a coronavirus. Yeah.
Yep.
You do. So Vanity says, CCR5, if you've done 23andMe, would it be there? So I've done
Should be.
I've done 23andMe. Yeah, it's there. That's correct. It is there. I don't have the mutation. So you could have 23andMe do it, yeah. To the previous person who asked, thank you, Vanity. As always, these moderators are on the ball.
Yeah, I never did 23andMe. My sister and father did Ancestry.com, and guess what? They found out that they were Jewish.
Well, how do you find that out? What DNA establishes that?
Different markers, like if you have Tay-Sachs markers or something or other.
I haven't been hearing anything lately about the spike in childhood hepatitis. Is this still happening? Yeah, it is. The cases are still on the increase. Let's take a look at ProMed Mail and get the latest. Amy, do you ever look at ProMed Mail?
No.
Oh, it's too bad. It's really good.
Everybody has their own thing.
I've done it religiously. I've done it religiously for many years.
Yeah. Well, that's too bad.
Why is it too bad? So the last
Everybody
report
does a different thing.
The last report on ProMed Mail was May 9th, hepatitis undefined and so forth.
That was almost a month ago.
It was a month ago, yeah. As of April 21st, 169 children. So I suspect it's tailing off. Otherwise, we would be hearing about it because, monkeypox is still rising and we're hearing about it. So Ted says, try taking the inter-county connector in Route 29 to the FDA. It's better than the Beltway or Randolph Road.
Okay. Ted, remind me. You can email me and remind me.
How's he going to email you? He doesn't know what your email is.
I don't know. I'll email it to you at vincent.microbe.tv, directions to the FDA, and then you could forward them to me.
Well,
That's the
Vincent
whole
at
point of life.
microbe.tv. Or you could look in the chat tomorrow and find Ted's instructions.
I'm not going to work tomorrow. I'm going
Or you could
in 2
write it
weeks.
down. Or you could write it down.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Yes, poll office. So I wrote poll off and I said, what's going on? What's the data that we need a fifth booster? Why do these people who published this long COVID paper say we have to keep boosting to prevent infection? And he said, oh, Vincent, we've lost our way. He's going to come on and explain why. Okay. The report I saw on new Modernovac said it isn't clear yet how it stacks up in terms of protection against severe disease. Thank you, Doug. Thank you. Thank you. Yet the bloody CEO says it's better. So this is what bothers me.
It's not the CEO. It's the president. They're different people.
Whatever.
Hey, if people are going to pick on me for getting things wrong, they should,
Pick on me?
Yeah, exactly.
Titles. What's a title? A rose is
I don't know.
anything but a rose. Well, how does that go? The Shakespeare thing? You know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're thinking.
You always used to.
Yeah,
A
my
rose,
EPS is going.
Hey, here it is.
Just a rose.
A rose by any other name would smell as sweet. So the name doesn't matter. Whether he's president or CEO, he still said a dumb thing. Okay, Amy?
That is true. That is true. I'm not arguing.
Could the new Modernovax cause more people to get their second shot because the numbers are still low? The new shot makes the old shot look like an old pair of tennis shoes. You know, if that happens, fine. Fine. I can't argue with that, right? Maybe another 20 million people will suddenly say, I want the best, the newest and best Moderna vaccine. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we've saturated. And I don't think Novavax is going to improve on vaccine uptake. But who knows? I could be wrong. Elizabeth says they get that neutralization is not the whole story, but that's the quickest and cheapest analysis, and they want to sell more vaccines and make more profit. Yes. I think that's part of it, Elizabeth. Yes. But it frustrates me. Yeah, Boostrix is Tdap. Oh, it's the name for Tdap. Thank you, pediatric person.
Yes.
We always call it Tdap. It's great. Can I download in podcast form for later? What, this? No, we never release these as podcasts. But if you have a podcast, you probably play podcasts on your phone, right? You can just play this video and listen to it, right? I think part of the charm of this is seeing Amy, right? Seeing her and hearing the words come from her and watching her expressions and so forth. Right, Amy?
Sure, we can go with that.
Henry is going to the UK and EU next month. What's your take on monkeypox? Okay, my take is you'll be fine. There are millions and millions and millions of people there, and we got 1,000 cases of monkeypox.
Really? We have that many? I didn't know that it was over 500.
Yeah, so yesterday Rich gave us an update. So just don't get close to people.
Well, if you're on the subway, you can't help it.
No, but without clothes on. Without clothes, don't get close to people without clothes on. Then you'll be fine. Are you tired, Amy?
I am. It's been hard writing.
Is not early neutralization a correlate of medium-term immunity? Yeah, it's a correlate
I don't know
of...
what that means.
Well, I don't know what medium-term immunity is, but it will prevent infection or reduce substantially infection, but only for 4 to 6 months, and then it's gone. So there's no use for that. You can't boost every 6 months. That's not a public health strategy. You should have let me draw your blood. Well, I had to go to the healthcare center where my doctor is. Every time I go, I get this, okay? Every time. It's the same thing. They draw, they put a Band-Aid on. It's fine. Then the next day when I take the Band-Aid off, boom, it's a mess. I don't get it.
And you
Maybe
have really good veins.
I have
unlike
great
me.
veins. I have great, thick, juicy veins. Lots of years of tomato sauce and pasta went into these veins. Okay? They're great veins on both arms. Once a dentist called them roly-poly. I said, no, they're not roly-poly. They're great veins.
Okay.
Okay, back to the question. Sorry, folks. I'm sorry. At least I'm in a good mood. There have been times when I'm not in a good mood because of the silly things that people say. By the way, I met Jan T, who's often on this live stream. She may not be. We had dinner with her. Hey, look at this. Amy, I'm going to text you the directions because Vanity Nutrition just texted it to me.
That's great. Thank you both. More organized than I am. Perfect.
Anyway, so Jan, we met Jan and her husband for dinner on Friday. They were in the area, so they're normally in Arizona. And she said, I said, what did you like TWIV? She said, well, I discovered it through the Bloomberg article where they said these are things that we're jealous of, and TWIV was one of them. But then she said when she listened, she really liked that we were grumpy. Particularly, I'm grumpy. She liked that. Okay, Ian Fraser says, Weinstein was railing about vaccinating during a pandemic causing variants. Wouldn't variants be inevitable due to antigenic drift, some of which may escape immunity? Well, antivirals would not make antigenic variants. No, so let's put that aside. Not every virus... I'm going to get in trouble with Dr. Rosenfeld here. I have to be careful what I say.
Yeah, because already every virus, you're in a zone where you're going to be told that's not right.
Good night, Amy. It's nice having you.
Okay, I can go.
No.
I have other stuff to do.
No, you don't.
I've been
You have
here
no
for an
plaque
hour.
assay. You have no plaque assays. Listen,
I have stuff to do.
does every virus undergo antigenic variation of some sort?
Yes.
Even measles virus?
Yes.
Even polio virus?
Yes.
Certainly Entro D68, because I've seen you working on that for the past years.
Yeah, every virus undergoes antigenic drift. Whether or not you can measure it by our assays is a separate issue. But every virus undergoes antigenic drift.
So
now, whether or not it's also functional in the context of does it allow the virus to escape immunity is also a different question.
Anyway, for Weinstein to rail against it, saying the vaccine has caused this, shows he knows zero about virology. And no one should listen to him.
Zero about evolution, and he's an evolutionary.
I'll give him evolution. I'll give him evolution, okay? But he knows nothing about viruses. Any kind of immunity will select for variants. And so railing about vaccination is just dumbass, because what do you want to do? Not vaccinate and have 10 times more people die? This is just dumb, stupid, ignorant, wanting to get attention, essentially. He wants to get attention. Enough of this.
Maybe he doesn't like his wife. Or maybe his wife doesn't like him.
What does that have to do with it?
Well, if he says he needs attention, he's,
No, but he needs attention from millions and millions of people, the Twitterverse kind of crap. YZ wants to know, how to scientifically explain the force behind viruses wanting to maximize their transmission? All right, so first of all, how do you know that they want to maximize their transmission? First of all, they don't want anything. It's just random mutation and selection. And how do you know how much transmission is needed, right? But, in theory, yeah, I could see that if you have a poorly transmitted virus and a variant arises that can do better, it will outcompete the other viruses. That's fine. I don't know about lower Gibbs free energy, but, to infect to sustain the viral population, you have to infect a number of hosts. If you don't, the virus is gone. And so that's the driving force for increased transmission. However, it's very difficult to measure. And what we mostly look at is increased fitness, mostly as a consequence of immune evasion. All right. What do you think, Amy? Have any thoughts about this? What's the force behind viruses wanting to maximize their transmission?
Well, there isn't any real force, right? It's just
selection,
how
right?
it's not even selection. It's incidental, right? It encounters a host that is naive, and then it's able to replicate and spread to the next host that's naive.
Yeah.
And sometimes it has to be an immediate interaction, and other times it can be like years or decades, right? Like, and Gibbs free energy sounds like stability of the virus. So when you measure stability, you would measure in Gibbs free energy, and some viruses will be more stable and some viruses will not be stable. It's the way it is.
Animal Party says, let's be nice to the phlebotomist. It's a thankless job. I felt badly because I see all these ladies lined up and they're doing this all day. It must be very boring to stick needles in people all day, right? And they don't even talk to you. If you try, they don't want to talk. I've tried.
I don't know. I don't talk.
Masa just graduated from the University of Maryland Virology program. I'm glad we helped with your virology. Good luck in your next step. Yep. If you're going to be at ASV, come say hello. Here's a joke, Amy. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Does zinc galvanize your immune system into action?
Of course.
So Ian now says 10 days of Paxlovid instead of 5. Well, unfortunately, the EUA is for 5 days. So if you want to change it, you'd have to do another trial. Okay. So I don't think they're going to do that. Oh, look at this. Andrew was in the UK at the wrong time where there was BSE, so he can never give blood. Yes, I know a number of people in that situation. I didn't give blood. I just had some taken for clinical tests, right? CBC and blood chemistry and all that, just part of an annual physical. Would a zinc finger protein folding be made non-fictional with substitution of lead?
Lead.
I don't
Non-functional, maybe.
Non-functional. Okay, yes. I don't think lead would substitute. Is the valence the same as zinc, Amy? You're the chemist.
Can be. Zinc is in the middle of the periodic table so it can have multiple valences. And lead can be a +2 and zinc can be a +2. So yeah, but it's bigger, I believe. It's in the transition metals.
Okay. I don't think lead would work. I think zinc is very finely.
Well, it's also sized,
Yeah. Right. Did you get your egg chair, Amy?
No. Nope. I have to buy furniture. I haven't bought anything yet.
Hey, this is good. I'm sorry. Keith says, congratulations on your award in Zurich. Your lecture there was very good. I note you were able to hit all your main rants to a receptive audience. Yes, you noticed that, Keith. I put them all out there. All my rants are out there. And they didn't mind because they've probably never heard them before, right? It's lovely. And it's recorded, so people... Did you listen? Did you watch, Amy?
Of course. Of course I did.
But people still like it. They haven't complained about it. Thank you, Dan, for your contribution to the incubator. All contributions are welcome to help the incubator move forward. What does that mean? Me to get some help, some more help. I need more. Animal Party, you should go visit Amy in her new office one day. Right? She would like that. PM says, Washington is a destination. Many people go for tourism reasons. Word is TB is rampant in Russia. Cramped old Soviet-style apartments with bad healthcare system plus poverty. Yeah, that would do it. I'm not sure. I really don't know. I will find out from Heron Darwin this weekend. She's going to be our guest on TWIM. I mean, what better guest with Dr. Darwin, right?
It's perfect.
On a side note, with regard to COVID in North Korea, it's worrying because many North Koreans suffer from multi-drug resistant TB that could be bad news. Yes? Interesting. Daniel said, okay to COVID patients just as soon as they felt good enough to get up and out for the shot. Okay, thank you for remembering that. Appreciate it. Lego is life. You like Lego?
Yeah. I don't know. I never had Lego before.
I have a whole pile of Legos in the back room here I'm trying to sell.
It's okay. I don't need any more.
These are my kids' Legos. So listen to this. My kids, had hundreds of Legos. At one point, they all went into one box. My wife spent a year sorting them out into the individual kits and then buying the pieces to make them complete. And
how did they go? How can you tell what pieces go to what kits if they're all white tiles?
Well, you figure if you get a parts list for each kit, okay? And then you look it up, you can download it, and you can tell. And there's some unique parts that are unique to a kit, and that can cue in the whole kit.
Okay, well, I don't know. I didn't get any Legos when I was a kid.
James, thank you. Thank you for sharing your expertise about viruses with those of us who aren't scientists. That's the whole point. Amy has taken on my call to a certain extent. I said to Amy, help me do a live stream. She said yes 2 years ago. Very nice of her to do that. And she's continuing it. So thank you, Amy. I want to personally thank you here in front of millions and millions of viewers.
You're welcome.
Well,
it's been fun.
Not really millions.
It's been fun. Well, who knows how many people will download or watch later. Yeah, it's been fun. It's been interesting. It's been a learning experience.
Don't argue with the recalculating navigation lady. I find she's always right.
There's no one to argue. I just turn her off after a while because it's not possible for me. So like the first time I went to Home Depot, right? It said it was a 20-minute drive from my house to Home Depot. You got on some highway, you did some rights and lefts, and you passed a Macy's, and voila, there you were. Now, if you reverse that, it should be 20 minutes coming back home, right? You do some lefts to rights, you get on you pass the Macy's, you get on a highway, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, you're home, right? Cannot be another hour and 45 minutes. Not possible.
You should call the navigation lady Amy because she's always right.
No, I'm not always right. But the navigation lady. So I went to this bakery called Fresh Baguette. Okay, I looked at it up online. It's on Wisconsin, but in Georgetown. So I decided to take the red line, go to Ansel Square, and walk. Okay. So first she has me going to walk along some super highway, which is totally ridiculous. And I was like, no, this is not happening. So then I walked up Connecticut to go north. And then you get to I think you go through some neighborhoods and you get to Massachusetts, which is where the naval observatory is, right? And it's closed off. So she tells you, make left. And you're like, lady, it's the naval observatory. It's a government property. It's not a road. She doesn't seem to understand that you can't just walk through the naval observatory.
This is Amy learning to use a GPS system on her phone. You never did it before, did you?
No. Why would I do it before?
Because you walk around New York, you can get navigations I do that too. Tell me how to get to this place by walking. There's a walking button there you push when you want to walk.
Yeah, I know, but I never had to do that. I can read the signs that say, get out at the north corner, the northeast corner, the northwest corner, the southeast corner, the southwest corner. I know how to do it. Then I orient myself and I say, this is where I want to go. This is the address. No, I don't need no GPS. No stinking GPS in New York.
Okay, Vanity wants to know what's this Grimzo. We already told you it's a rodent virus. Yeah, Dasek is right. We don't know the threats, but I don't think it's a threat because there are lots of other viruses out there and they've been there for a long time. But yes, it's fair to say we don't know the threat. But, today that can be taken as it's a threat. So, all right, Amy, this is for you. What's the mechanism that makes COVID worse for diabetics and the obese? Do you know?
No, but it does have to do with the fact that obesity is an inflammatory disease. And probably it has to do with, I don't know, for diabetes. And I'm not sure which type. Is it type 1 or type 2?
But he doesn't want you to say it's inflammatory. That we don't know the mechanism, right?
No.
All right. For which viruses is airborne transmission the primary form of transmission? Now, Andrea, I don't know what you mean by airborne here, because droplets of respiratory droplets floating through the air is airborne. But SARS-CoV-2, right, is primarily
So it's aerosolized.
respiratory droplets. Measles virus, primarily respiratory droplets. Enterovirus 68. Is that any contact involved there, Amy? You don't know. And
Well,
rhino,
rhino is fomites. In
fomites?
Jim's
Yeah.
Crow. Yeah, Jim Curran says it's fomites. And that
Influenza.
would explain why rhino didn't go down when we were masking,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
68 and all the others did.
I think that influenza is primarily droplets, but also there's some mucus. You touch your nose, you shake hands, and so forth. There's some contribution. I don't know if you remember, Amy, but years ago, Ian Lipkin stopped shaking hands with people who just did the elbow bump shit.
Yeah, the elbow bump. Yeah.
And he claimed he never had a cold again after that. Of course, he got COVID because the hands don't matter, right?
Got COVID because the makeup artist on Fox News breathed on him. That's what he told me.
Well, makeup. I went to CNN's makeup artist, and he breathed on me, and I didn't get COVID.
Yeah, but it was very early in the pandemic. This was like a couple months later.
Oh, his was later?
Yeah.
Okay.
This was like May or June, and you went to CNN in like February.
What causes the pain in the throat, like when you have a respiratory infection? Virus attacking cells of the immune response, or T cells, or both? I think it's inflammation. Right?
Probably, yeah. It's also probably the irritation of nerves. There was a paper that talked about the irritation of nerves. I haven't read it yet, but I just saw it today. Very interested.
Is it bikeable with an electric bike, Amy?
I don't know.
How far is the FDA from your apartment?
I don't know. Maybe 20 miles.
No, it's 5 miles, you told me.
Maybe it's 11 miles.
You could do
I think it might be 11 miles.
Do you want me to get you an electric
bike? I don't
know.
No.
I don't think Amy would be good on an electric bike.
No, I don't want an electric bike.
When's
I
the
want
last
a coffee
time-
table. I want a coffee table and some other stuff.
When is the last time you rode a bicycle?
A regular bicycle?
Yeah.
A
long time ago. No, you're not doing it.
Hey, well, Wendy bikes at the beach. Did we bike at Wendy's at the beach? I don't know if we biked at Wendy's at the beach. If we biked at Wendy's at the beach, then it was like within the last 4 years. But I don't remember if we biked at Wendy's at the beach. You have to ask Wendy.
Well, I don't think you should do it, okay?
Yeah, I'm not buying an electrical bike. I had to buy a vehicle.
Okay, Ian says herpes meningitis is horrible in infants and some predisposed elderly. Okay. Another virus causing meningitis, as well as encephalitis.
Yeah, TLR3, UBC 94, 93, whatever it is.
in Science this month reported finding more than 5,000 new RNA viruses and 5 new taxonomic phyla in the oceans. Any thoughts? You look
Cool.
and you will find it's great, but this is simply because we haven't looked that much. And when you look, you find lots of new viruses, no matter where it is that you look. So I'm not surprised. But yeah, I saw that paper. I think it's great. Amy sent it to me. Correct, Amy?
Yeah.
I hear the second dose of Shingrix is awful. Oh, someone asked this last week. You need to take the second dose. You get much better protection with the second dose. It's not awful. You may have body aches for a day. You may have fever. If you think that's awful, that's fine, but it's not that bad. Go get it, Marina. Go get it. We told someone else with the same concern last time to get it. All right, so Charlotte wants to know, she's got a prescription for antibiotics and she's got 2 pills left and she doesn't want to take them. What happens if I don't take them? You should take them because you have to complete the course to make sure you get rid of all the bacteria. Otherwise, you could get resistance. So please take them, Charlotte. Always complete the antibiotic course. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Vanity doesn't have Delta 32. Good job, Vanity. It's mostly in people of European descent. Are you of European descent? Oh, you're Ukrainian. Yeah. Well, there you go. You may be in the population that has 4 to 16% of people of European descent. Masa is moving from Maryland to New York. Oh, so Masa just finished her PhD, and she's moving to New York. You're going to love Maryland. I remember you had an interview at UMD. Welcome back to Maryland. So actually, what you don't know, Amy, is Masa's coming to run my lab now.
Excellent.
I'm just kidding.
Good luck.
Just kidding.
No, good. It's great that she's got a position at New York and everything.
Good for you.
She could send emails with all the highlights of what I should do in Maryland.
Masa, you got to come visit the incubator, okay? Come by sometime 2 blocks south of Penn Station on 7th Avenue. We'll have a little chat. Dave, don't worry, he says, my second dose of Shingrix was not too bad.
That'll be fine.
Yeah, Charlotte, it's not overkill to finish your course of antibiotics. It's the course that's been tested to be effective. Please finish it. There's no echo on the stream. Thank you. It must be in my head. Oh, Overkill is a book. I'm sorry. When modern medicine goes too far. I didn't read that one. I should. Michael, thank you for your contribution. Do DNA viruses resequence into variants significantly less than RNA because of DNA's more stable double-stranded helical structure? No, they have a lower mutation frequency because the polymerase has error correction. So
they also have lower mutation frequency because they have a repair mechanism.
That's what I said, error correction. Isn't that error correction?
But it's not in the polymerase. It's like Rec A, B, and C, Rec A and Rev A, B, and C, all the proteins that Rod studies.
It's an exonuclease that's associated with the polymerase. It's not the
Part
polymerase molecule. Yeah, it's stuck on in the complex, just like NSP.
Some parts of it is, but some parts of it are where they put in the wrong.
Yeah, okay. Just like NSP 14 is associated with the polymerase of SARS-CoV-2.
But some parts of it where you put in the wrong nucleotide and then you have to back up and you're recognized by pCNA and flap endonuclease.
The point is that the DNA viruses have ways to correct
they take advantage
mistakes.
of it.
And I got Amy to make fun of me. You don't like when I do this?
I didn't make fun of you.
This is my Italian. I cannot help but gesture. Okay? I'm sorry. You're
being
very
Jewish
calm.
is just like being just like being Italian.
Do Jewish people gesture, Amy? Someone has been working with you for 20 years. I ask you this, right?
Yeah, of course.
All Jewish people?
A lot of them. I like being Jewish is just like being Italian at the Italian market yesterday.
Okay. So that's the way the guy liked you, right? Because
Yeah,
Jewish people and Italians are similar, huh?
yeah, cute little guy. I like him. It's the owner of the store. He's trying to get me to buy more stuff. It's like, I can make it. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna do this. It's gonna do that. Then he was like, wow, person's gonna eat well when they come visit. I was like, yeah, it's good.
Okay, so Doug says boiled baking soda decomposes to sodium carbonate, pH 11. Calcium oxide will yield calcium hydroxide. Okay, that has to do with bagels. You got it?
Yeah, you need the basicness of the solution. Yeah, that's
Vincent,
why you only buy out bagels that are boiled.
CDC considers 2 shots of mRNA to be fully vaxxed and up to date if you've had recommended boosters. So according to Daniel last week, the new CDC proclamation is for 65 and over, you need 2 boosters, 2 shots and 2 boosters to be fully vaccinated. That was in Daniel's update. It's on the CDC website, not for younger people. So they don't consider 2 shots to be fully vaccinated for a certain age group. Assuming Vincent and Amy were in charge of the COVID response team, what would you do to end or mitigate the pandemic? I'm going to let you go first, Amy. What would you do to end the pandemic?
Now, today?
Well, today in the U.S. it's over, but the emergency part of it is over. So if you go back a year and we're in the pandemic, what would you do?
I would have thought more prudently about having a plan of vaccination and what we're testing and what we want the vaccine to do and how to market it. Because no vaccine that we've ever developed has ever blocked infection. So right then and there, that was a problem. The masking issue was a problem. I wouldn't have made up some story about, masks don't work, blah, blah, blah. I think you had to think a lot more prudently, and come up with an exit strategy. And we still don't have an exit strategy.
Yes, there has never been a plan. And that's what we need.
But the thing is if you watched Frank Sinatra in Ocean 11 and then watched all the George Clooney movies of Ocean 11, 12, and 13, and then whatever else, the first question that before they do any heist is, do you have an exit plan?
Amy, do you have an exit plan?
Yeah, I have this little button called hang up. I can push it at any time. Exit plan number 1. What do you think about them apples?
So I would have had a plan to distribute vaccines, increase testing early on to find who was infected. I would have stopped travel very early on until we could find out the extent of this. And I would try to do more education to get people to vaccinate. And
I think the travel thing is overrated.
Maybe, but if it had been done earlier, it would have helped. I think now it's overrated.
No, it wouldn't have. No, it wouldn't have helped. And you were saying it wouldn't have helped even when it first broke out because it was here way before we even knew about it. So stopping of travel is just useless.
ProMed Mail, yes, it's publicly accessible. ProMedMail.org. It's all one word, ProMedMail.org. It's a wonderful site. Reports on all kinds of outbreaks of various sorts. Regarding duration of smallpox immunity, Janet Parker, the last person in the UK who died from smallpox in 1978, had been vaccinated against it 12 years previously. Now, Peter, this is an anecdote, right? It's one person.
The other thing is just because she was vaccinated doesn't mean she mounted an immune response. You just heard me and Jen say we were vaccinated against measles, but we have no titer of IgG. Right. So,
not everyone responds. So what happened to her doesn't really impact the longevity of the vaccine in the general population. Thank you. I rose by any other name would smell as sweet. As soon as I said it, I knew someone would type it in there. Yep. And here's a solution. If you want to listen to this live stream, you can download from YouTube. Okay. Thank you, Peter. Perhaps I need to eat more green leafy vegetables and take vitamin K because you don't think I clot well enough. I do eat green leafy vegetables. I don't take vitamin K, no. The bigger vein in the arm is a bit harder to see, but more lateral to the center vein where the needle really shouldn't go. I don't remember where she put it now. The thing is, okay, if you look at where this hematoma is, it's not even near the bloody veins that she took. It's on the side of the arm here, right? There's no hematoma up by the vein. So you're saying, Amy, she poked through and it bled out the back? It's sore.
Yeah, usually that's
vein.
What happens.
Yeah.
Is usually what
vein.
Happens.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, usually when I bruise, it's because they hit the back of the vein.
The vein, she did take it from the lateral vein. I can feel that it's sore. Anyway, enough about my vein. Make sure they pull the needle out very slowly. Oh, they whip it right out and tape it up and get you out of there. Here's your cup. Go pee.
You don't want
it.
Home. I was going to say you don't want it to be slow, but also I've had it where I've donated blood for a prostate cancer study, and the guy has pulled out the needle, and he has left me bleeding. Not so good.
No, that's not good. I watched the recent episode of Immune about flip-flop mice and thymic maturation, lost without background immunology. Can you suggest a good primer?
Primer.
The Brits say primer. Sometimes I'd be British, you know.
Oh, so sorry. Please progress, Queen of British land.
Take Brianne Barker's immunology course. It's on YouTube. I think that'll get you into immunology. Are you working on a microbe TV project with Laurie Garrett? I would like her to do a project, and I asked her some time ago, and she's thinking about it. Okay, and so when she decides, you'll know about it. Do bats have a different interferon system than other mammals? Is this why viruses that spill over from bats are a concern for other mammals? So bats
have a huge interferon system.
Yeah, they have many of the genes are amplified, and they are very good at regulating inflammation. So inflammation can be damaging, as you have seen in this pandemic. And bats are somehow good at tamping it down so they can be infected without immunopathology. And so they harbor lots of viruses. And so that's why they are a problem, because they have so many viruses and they contact people in various ways and so forth. So that's the story. Do viruses ever permanently go away? Don't they exist dormant or some form somewhere always?
Rinderpest went away.
Did smallpox go away?
Well, we eradicated it.
Yeah, some go away, and I'm sure many more have gone away that we don't know about because we only follow, a few hundred viruses at best, and there are plenty of viruses of animals. And we're talking about through evolutionary time. Viruses have certainly disappeared as their hosts disappear. If a virus has a very specific host and the host goes away, that's it for the virus, and they're gone. And they degrade in nature, so they're not around. No, they're not dormant in any form. Well, the retroviruses are in genomes of animals, and so they're always there, but they're often not infectious.
Well, they're defective genomes usually.
Yes, exactly right. Does the FDA have a masking policy when you go in the office?
No, it does not.
It's interesting, isn't it?
They follow the CDC guidelines, and when I was there in March, many of them were, I would say, 50% masked and 50% were not. It
Hmm.
also depended on what you were doing. So, like when I sat and gave my seminar, and like 13 of the department were around the table,
Hmm.
then a majority of them were masked. But when I spoke to them one on one in their office, they were not. And then when I went on a tour with one, she was not. And then when I went in April to go look at the lab space and stuff, uh, two two were not and one was. So yeah. And I think when I went on Friday to get fingerprinted, it says as of March, masking is optional.
Cool. That's very good. Now, at
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
ASM Microbe, I have to wear a mask this weekend.
Okay. Well,
Everybody
I
has to
guess
wear
you
a
have to
mask.
pack it. I guess you have to pack one.
Well, that's not a problem. I usually carry one in my pocket in case there's some place I go where they require it. But the whole bloody
Well,
meeting,
oh, except for when you do your TWIV
yeah, they
and
said on
TWIM.
stage we could take our masks off. Yeah.
So, are you going to wear one on Amtrak or no mask on Amtrak?
I don't know. I haven't been on Amtrak in quite a while. I'll have to check. I don't think
It's
so.
optional now.
I see people getting off without masks. No, I'm not going to wear a mask on Amtrak. No. All right. Miter has a couple of questions. I'm going to the UK in July. Should I get a booster beforehand? Look at Amy's eyes get big.
Why? Why do I need a booster beforehand?
No, you don't need a booster unless you're over 80. If you want to get one just for peace of mind.
Sure.
There's one reason why you might want a booster. Here it is. To
Because
get
you
back,
have to get tested to get back into the country.
yes, to get back you have to test negative, and if you boost, a month before, you're unlikely to get infected.
But then you could just wear a mask.
Could wear a mask. Though I've wore a mask my whole flight over because I wanted to test negative to get back,
You wore a
and
mask your whole trip until you took the test and got a
yeah.
negative result. And
In
then you
fact,
went then you took it off and you walked around and go, woo, no mask.
and Amy, if you remember, we were cleaning out the lab and I was wearing a mask and you looked at me and you said, "What, are you afraid of me?" I said, "No, I just don't want to test positive when I go to Zurich."
Yeah, because you were coming back on Tuesday and the incubator party was on Thursday. What do you think? I'm silly?
Yeah, sometimes you are,
Okay, fine. But
especially
it's
when you
good that
spend
I be silly.
especially when you spend $20,000 on a pair of shoes. That's silly, Amy.
Well, when I spend $20,000 on a pair of shoes, I'll let you know. But since I've never spent $1,000 on a pair of shoes, I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
Remember, I didn't buy the boots that everybody said were super cool that I really wanted that were like $1,100. I didn't buy them.
Any precautions about monkeypox? No, just, don't
Don't
get
go
too
on the subway naked
don't go naked. Don't get near people naked and then you'll be okay. Where is Amy's new job?
at the FDA.
It's in Maryland, right?
Silver Springs, Maryland. Yeah.
Yes, monkeypox cases are greater than 1,000 outside of the normal endemic area. That's correct. What point do you see this fizzling out? Any day now. Any day now. Now, Stuart, thank you for your contribution to the incubator. Really appreciate it. And Eric repurchased his COVID mask. It's now a monkeypox, but unless you're really close, this is not going to go by respiratory droplets. This is contact. Okay, so the mask is not going to be of help for that. Yes, I am familiar, Andrea, with the distinctions between aerosolized virus and droplets. And what you don't understand is that I've been doing virology for 40 years, so I know this. And when people say aerosolized, they don't often mean aerosolized. So next time you should just specify it, okay? Should we mask still if we have 4 shots?
No.
I don't mask. I don't think it's necessary. But you may want to, okay? Because some people worry still about getting infected. I don't think it's an issue. Amy doesn't think it is an issue, and many other people don't. It's up to you. Gabriel, thank you very much for your contribution to the incubator. Would I consider talking to these people? Yes, of course. I'd be happy to talk to people about aerosols. But I tell you, SARS-CoV-2 aerosols is minimal. Transmission is minimal. I would say the one virus that I know of that is really good with aerosols is measles virus. That one may predominantly go into aerosols, but you can't avoid going into larger droplets as well. So, but it does get into the aerosols, which very few other viruses can do. It may be 5 miles, but it feels like 11. At least driving around the area is horrible. I hate it. And bikes are dangerous in D.C. Lots of drivers with diplomatic immunity. Yeah, be careful, Amy.
I haven't bought a bike.
Do they use a butterfly? No, they just use a needle on that little thing where they slip the Vacutainer in. It's a regular. Yeah. It's a holder, yeah, for the Vacutainer. They have a needle. It's not a butterfly.
But she should use a butterflies are better because they're shorter and they don't puncture the back of the vein. There's no problem with it.
Well, I don't have a choice, right? I'm not going to say use a butterfly.
No.
Are 2 shots of mRNA vaccine 6 months apart still considered safe? Yeah. Yeah, they're safe. Gwen went back and listened to old podcasts. Some are missing. No, none of them are missing, Gwen. They're all there. I personally post them all. They're there. For sure. Amy, since the concept of pandemic is really geographical rather than just numeral, and there are more than 3 WHO regions affected by monkeypox, do you reckon that monkeypox serve as a new pandemic?
Sure.
No, it's not a pandemic. You have to have a lot of cases.
If that's what the number, but he's saying it's not numerical. It has to do with how many areas of the world. So if you're just defining it by how many areas of the world are affected, sure. If you're defining it by the numerics within that large area, then no. Depends on what you're defining it as.
No, prevalence is part of the definition that WHO uses.
So then no, it's not. It's not a pandemic.
Yep. Prevalence. I want to get the shingles vaccine. I've had it, and this is good. We're getting non-COVID questions now, Amy, right?
Yeah, I like non-COVID questions. I'm not a big fan of COVID.
Hey, I have an idea, Amy. At a future Q&A, would it be okay with you if Daniel came on for like an hour and then left you and I so he could answer some questions? Okay? Because we get a lot of.
He wants to do that?
Yeah, he'll do it. He's usually good about doing what we want. Okay, so Dachshund wants to get the shingles vaccine and have had a sore throat and earache for 6 to 7 weeks. Docs can't figure out why. Allergies, do you think that would interfere? I don't think so. Allergies won't interfere. I mean, they're going to go on for a long time, right? And besides Contagion, do you recommend other films to discuss in the classroom?
Where's Ian's lab meeting? It had like 400 of them.
Ian had a whole bunch, but, a lot of them are garbage. What is that one?
Yeah, but they were funny.
There's one that was made 3 different times.
The one with Vincent Price.
So the
one with Vincent Price. Legend of Man. Or I Am Legend with
I Am
Vincent Price,
Legend.
right?
So the first one was Vincent Price, and the most recent one was with Will Smith, and then there was one in between. So 3 different productions of I Am Legend, Luther, really interesting. They're not very good. So if you want to use it as a teaching tool to point out what's wrong, that can be good. And the one with Dustin Hoffman is so horrible, right?
Yeah, he was quite campy.
Outbreak. Bad science, too. Let's see. Yeah, 50 and over. That's right. I think that's the number. 50 and over, 4th dose is you're fully vaccinated. Yeah, see, recommended 2 boosters, adults 50 years and older, people aged 12 years and older who are moderately or severely immunocompromised. So I am no longer fully vaccinated because I'm older than 50 years. Who is the most knowledgeable virologist? Amy Rosenfeld.
No, I'm not.
Well, who would you say is? It's very tough because
I don't know, but I think you have a large breadth of knowledge. But I think that I think like Peter has a tremendous comprehension of flu. Maybe not every virus, but of flu, he's like, there's nobody probably better than Peter. So it depends on what you think is most knowledgeable means. Is it most knowledge on a single topic or a lot of knowledge on a broad topic?
Yeah, so that's a good point because most virologists specialize on their virus. So as Amy said, Peter Palese is great for influenza virus. You can find retrovirologists. You can find coronavirologists, right? Enterovirologists. But is there any one that knows it all? Not really. I know a lot because I've written a textbook, but I wouldn't say I'm the most knowledgeable because I would never do that. But if Amy wants to call me that, thank you so much, Dr. Rosenfeld. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
MITRE has an exit plan. It's called life insurance. I like that. That's really good. Okay. Hey, folks, we got almost 500 of you here, 250 likes. Push the like button, please. That just, makes this more available to other people.
20 minutes more of freezing and then I'm going.
Are you freezing?
Yeah, I left the air conditioner on.
Go turn it off.
Then I have to get up and walk across the whole other side of the room. It's fine.
All right.
I can suffer for 20 more minutes and then we're moving on to turning it off.
Yeah, 10 p.m. we stop. Is there anywhere I can find the most detailed current images of viruses and learn more about accurately painting them? A bit confused about colors. There's a great website.
Talk to Jen.
Okay, you can talk to Jen, Animal House here. But
Animal Party, not Animal House. That's John Belushi. She's Animal Party.
All right, it's the same. What's in a name? It's still Jen, right?
Well, maybe the wrong Jen is Animal House, and they would tell him the wrong answer. She got to go to Animal Party.
All right, I'm going to show you this website, CYP3, cytochrome P450 or P3, whatever. Here. Oh, boy. It never fits, never fits. Here it is. Viral Zone. Okay? viralzone.expacy.org. They have great images of viruses. So let's just pick a double-stranded DNA virus. We could look by virions. And then you click on one, and you get these great virus pictures, right? What virus do you want to look at, Amy? You want to look at some enteroviruses?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. Where are they? Picornaviridae. It's off the slide. I'm sorry. There it is. So yeah. I would recommend Viral Zone for CYP3, okay?
It's good.
Watching these two is a sanity check. I'm glad you think so. Not everyone thinks so. Yes, and the viruses, the colors are, of course, the artist's choice. And Amy has a painting by Animal Party. Animal House?
Animal Party. Gosh.
which has unusual colors. You can make them whatever color you want. For example, don't yell at me,
It's
Amy.
green and purple. Mine is green and purple.
This one, where is it? Poliovirus with its receptor. And I just colored it magenta and blue because I like magenta and blue. There you go.
And mine is purple and green.
Purple and green. Yeah, whatever color you want.
I like purple and green.
We don't say primer unless you're referring to young, posh women. We say primer in the UK if you mean primer. So who says primer? Like a primer is a book that teaches you something, right? You can get a primer on DNA sequencing. It's the first thing that comes to my mind. A primer, yes. A primer is for PCR, but a primer is something you might read. It's not a young, posh women, no. What do I know about UK, right? Okay. Will you still be doing research at your new job, Amy?
Yeah. I have my own lab. Yeah.
She's going to do enteroviruses, and you're going to... Oh, by the way, I wanted to tell everyone, a commentary was published on Amy's work.
Yeah.
Someone wrote a commentary saying how important it is. It's in MBio, is that right?
Yeah.
Check it out. How important is interferon as a correlate of protection against COVID? Huge. Huge. Right, Amy?
Appears to be, yeah.
So, yes, good interferon response is key to an uneventful course of infection. And if you have antibodies to interferon, then you're screwed. You get severe COVID. Yep, it's really quite clear.
Hey, your dinner partner just showed up.
Sorry?
Your dinner partner just came to the live stream.
Who's my dinner partner?
Jan or Yan or whatever.
Oh, I don't see her here because I'm a little
Yeah,
behind
she's
in the stream. Hello, Jan. It's Jan. I asked her. It's like Jan is in Janice, you know.
Okay, good.
Friend's grandnephew, 4 years old, had COVID and has just been diagnosed with leukemia. Is there a connection?
No.
No. It's coincidence, most likely. I've asked this question twice in this chat. It's been ignored. I just want to know if you've heard about vaccine injury and if there's any truth to it. So polio vaccine.
What is vaccine injury?
Harm caused by vaccines. Some polio vaccines can cause harm. 1.5 million kids who get a polio vaccine get paralyzed from the vaccine. That's clear vaccine injury. But most vaccines do not do that. There are some cases of injury, but for the most part, it is overblown by people who want to discourage you from getting vaccinated. I've gotten every vaccine I needed, so have my kids, so has Amy. There's nothing wrong with them.
Oh, you mean my two heads are normal?
When I went to primary school, the first 4 classes were called primers. Yeah, that's the sort of thing, a book. And the book you get to learn to write is a primer, right? The data are clear. Data are clear is a plural thingy.
Data is plural.
Here's a good explanation by Elizabeth. There are known minor and rare serious effects to vaccines. These are studied and known. People talking about vaccine injury are usually trying to fearmonger and create problems. Beautifully put. Thank you for that, Elizabeth. That's what I was trying to say and stumbled through it. Yeah. How much viral replication is going on in the COVID hyperinflammatory phase? Some. I mean, Amy's not going to like this, but according to Daniel's diagram, there's some replication in the hyperinflammatory phase. And a lot of these
Yeah, well,
patients
I don't really like Daniel's diagram all that much.
a lot of these patients in the ICU are still shedding infectious virus because it's actually
No,
been measured.
they're not actually shedding virus. They're just PCR positive.
There's
Nobody's
a
ever
study
actually.
which you sent me showing they shed infectious virus. You sent it to
Some
me.
do, but very few.
Okay.
That was the point.
And Judy says you will love Maryland, but to be an in the know resident, you should know it is Silver Spring,
Oh,
Maryland.
okay. No S.
Did you say Springs?
Probably. But now I know it's a singular thing.
Thank you. Really looking forward to the incubator. Oh, good. I will provide Amy with a list of fun things to do in Maryland.
Great. I'm looking forward to it. I have 2 weeks.
All right. Now everyone is telling me I should ask them to use a butterfly. Okay. And if they yell at me, then I'm going to complain to both of you. Okay. Ian met a person 65, 4 vaccines, had asthma, COVID, giving Paxlovid 1 month, still short of breath. Okay. Tired. Yes, this is going to happen. Nothing is 100%, right? But this doesn't happen.
Well,
to everyone.
clear that the asthma has. I'm not clear why they're giving them Paxlovid. Paxlovid is directly to. It's not a prophylactic drug.
No, so they have COVID. They have COVID. See, they have COVID. So they're high risk because they have asthma. So they got COVID. That's what the EUA says, an at-risk person.
Yeah, but 1 month after, has nothing to do with it.
Richard, I think this is Richard who gave you your lights, Amy.
Yeah, it is. It is Richard who gave me my lights.
I'm going to set them up in
He plays the violin.
Is that
Look,
right?
He's playing the violin.
Oh, cool.
Or the viola. Looks like he's playing something.
3 legally defined officers, president, secretary, and treasurer. That's right. I am the president of Microbe TV, Inc. And then we have Kathy
Daniel
Spindler
as the vice.
Daniel's the treasurer, and Kathy Spindler is the secretary. That's right. We are a proper Inc. corporation. Now lots of people are talking about side effects of vaccines. Okay. Oh, 12 Monkeys.
Talk about side effects of
That's
drugs.
Right. That's the other movie he showed. Remember the monkey escapes and all that? That's 12 Monkeys, yeah.
I don't know. I just remember he was very involved and he was laughing and it was a hoot, and there was Charlton Heston with a shotgun or a rifle or something or other.
The I Am Legend was remade as Omega Man with Charlton Heston in the 70s, right? And then finally with Will Smith, right?
Yeah, but is that the movie where Charlton Heston was walking around with the rifle?
Yeah, that's right.
And Ian paused it to say this was before he became president of the NRA and lost his mind. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh, this is another one. The killer that stalked New York was about the New York smallpox outbreak. That's right. Guy walked into New York in 1947, and he was infected with smallpox virus. But there wasn't an outbreak. They vaccinated a lot of people.
I don't know. I didn't see the movie.
My wife tested positive for COVID last Thursday. Headache, runny nose, back to normal since Sunday. Still testing positive. How long can she test positive? Apparently, well, I presume you're doing rapid antigen tests, and sometimes they can go on for many days. It's not, people don't understand that, but that happens. Yes, Daniel has discussed it for sure. Then we have Jezebel with Betty Davis is 1853, the yellow fever epidemic. That's cool.
Yeah, we missed that one. Well, Ian fouls.
Amy, why are Hep C and Hep B not considered pandemic?
Hep C is a pandemic, for sure.
It's a good
They're
question.
just,
Hep B should be
I
also.
believe it's, yeah, but I believe it's the Hep C pandemic. It's just like
Yeah.
HIV is considered a pandemic.
Well, here you go. Here's an article in what journal is this? Political Science Quarterly. Look at this.
That's cool.
I'm going to turn on the screen share for this. The Hep B and Hep C pandemics, health, political, and security challenges. They have infected nearly 2 billion people worldwide. So, yes, they are pandemics. It's a good point. I never thought of that. Hello, there she is, Jan. Hello, ciao tutti. I'm so late, it's no problem. Are you back home or are you in Ithaca?
All right, 10 more minutes.
Amy, how are you liking D.C.? It's Silver Spring, right?
Yeah, well, I live in Chevy Chase. I've been to DC once or twice. I've been to Silver Spring once when I got fingerprinted, and then I went to Arlington yesterday. I've seen a lot of strip malls. That's what I can say.
How can your lab look like a French bakery? What's this? What is that all about? Do you know?
I'm not sure, but it's like, different eclectic little pastries and stuff will be different eclectic little lab gadgets. It's an analogy.
Vincent had a poliovirus painting and then an interview with a doctor that had pictures of viruses. Oh my gosh. That's too vague for me. I don't remember that episode, but maybe someone else will. Okay, here's the definition. Primer, a small introductory book on a subject. There you go. That's a primer. What did I call a primer with the DNA? Is that what I was calling a primer?
Yeah.
All right, that's wrong.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree that that's wrong.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Well, we all learned what a primer was.
Don't listen to Vincent. Do not move to D.C. I'm not. She's the one who wants to move to D.C. That's what she said in the beginning. She said, I'm going to move in 5 years to D.C. She wants to buy a brownstone. Right, Amy, or am I wrong?
I'm a city girl. We got to work with who I am. This vehicle thing is not so good.
If they yell at you, there's something wrong. Medical staff should never be yelling at patients. Yeah, I know. I was probably exaggerating. Scolding maybe is something. I will ask for a butterfly next time. And I will say, every time I get bled here with a needle, I get a terrible hematoma. So I want a butterfly, please. Please. I'll be nice. But I have to say, they're cranky. Maybe it's because I always go at 8 o'clock in the morning, right? They're very cranky. Okay. Is there any correlation of protection in antibody levels since vaccine efficacy and antibodies wane with time? So the antibodies, high levels of antibodies in the blood correlate with protection against any kind of infection. But then as they go down, you get infected, but you're still protected against disease, most likely because of memory loss. Would you please take a look at these new papers and tell me if you think it's primarily droplet? Yeah, it is. I've looked at them, and I've had other people. I've talked to other people about them, and they agree it's a minor component of transmission. It is not. There are some cases of small droplets, but the most part, larger droplets for sure. "12 Monkeys" is the Brad Pitt movie, Amy.
Okay. Well, I didn't see that one either.
Doreen, thank you so much. I'm in house moving hell now, but still listening while we hang closet rods and cut shelf liner. Glad Amy is done with her move. Still love hanging out with A&V, the mods, and Twivers. It's a good little community here. Very nice.
Yeah, it's excellent.
Just moving down to the bottom here. I wish we could get together and watch virus movies with popcorn. What a great idea. That would be fun someday, right? We could have a We could have a showing at the incubator, Amy.
Yeah, be good.
20 movies about viruses. There's a link from Vanity Nutrition. We could
Cool.
we could watch virus movies, and then we could talk about them, right?
Why do you need to talk about them? Just watch them.
You don't want to talk about them afterwards?
No.
All right. And now we're talking about, people say if you move to D.C., you can take public transportation.
Okay.
I remember that Ian Lipkin's interview was published on March 29th because it was my birthday. He was recovering. Was that the TWIV interview?
Yeah. That's when it must have been around then because I was on my way to, or on my walk back from the fairway at 125th, and I called Ori and asked him if he wanted any food because he was sick with COVID.
Virus movie night at the incubator. That would be so cool. I could set up a big screen, right? But you could watch via Zoom, Amy, because you have to be down there working in Maryland, right? Yeah, so Helen says I would do it on Zoom. Yeah. And have the chat rolling. We could live stream, maybe, once every now and then we could live stream a virus movie, and then you could have a chat, and we could have some people at the incubator live, and then we'd put the chat up on the wall so that everybody could see it.
Yeah, for sure.
Would that be illegal for me to live stream a virus movie and critique it or chat about it? But I wouldn't be charging money. That's a great idea.
That's fine.
All right, this is 8:56.
Yeah, 9:56.
Sorry.
Let's wrap it up.
Do they know how long we have protection from memory B and T cells with just 2 doses of vaccine? No, we don't know longevity from that, right, Amy?
Right.
Ebola on Canvas is the episode painting based on EMs by Fred Murphy. But she said polio. I thought it was another episode she was talking about. All right, we're going to have a virus movie night and maybe multiple virus movie nights. Meanwhile, it's time to say good night.
Yes.
I want to thank all of our moderators tonight. Yeah, it looks like people are into movie night. Very good. We'll work on it. So we had tonight Les, we had Vanity Nutrition, and we had Frank, and for a little bit of time, Tom. Thank you all for coming and doing this. And come back next week. We'll be here Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Amy Rosenfeld is in Chevy Chase, Maryland. Thank you very much, Amy, for staying to the end. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good.
And thank all of you for coming. 475, 351 likes. Before you leave, push the like button, please. And it's so great to see everyone. We have a core now of people who come regularly and really appreciate it. So thanks, folks, and we will see you next time. Good night.